Welcome to my channel. Do you want to speak English with confidence? Do you wish you could understand people when they talk in English? Would you like to feel relaxed and happy when having a conversation in English? In this video, I'll show you how people actually speak English, and how you can too. It's easier than you think, it's possible for anyone, and it's even fun. Stay with me and let's begin. Chapter 1: Why People Speak English. My name is David. I live in Spain, and I'm learning English. I want to connect with people from different countries, to understand them, to talk with them, to travel, to work abroad, and to live in a world where I can communicate with many people. For me, English is the key that can open all these opportunities. Right now, my English is still basic. I can say hello, thank you, and even ask for water, but I want more. I want to have real conversations, to follow people when they speak quickly, to watch movies and read books in English, and eventually, to think in English without translating. One day, I decide to join a language school in my town. On my first day, I meet my teacher, Sarah, from England. She has a warm smile, speaks slowly, and genuinely wants to help us. There are 5 other students in my class, from Italy, Poland, Brazil, China, and Turkey. Sarah tells us something that stays in my mind. English isn't just a language. English is a bridge. It connects people. Then she asks each of us why we want to learn English. A girl from Brazil says, "I want to travel to the United States." A man from Turkey says, "I want to work for an international company." A woman from China says, "I want to watch English movies and understand them." I say, "I want to speak with people from other countries." Sarah nods. These are all great reasons. English is a global language. You'll hear it at airports, in hotels, on the internet, in meetings, conferences, schools, shops, and even on TV. English is everywhere. She's right. I notice English signs at airports, words on websites, and even on my phone before I've properly learned the language. Then Sarah explains our learning method. In this class, we won't just sit and study grammar rules or memorize long lists of words. We'll talk, we'll listen, we'll play games, and we'll ask and answer questions. That's how people really learn English. I feel relieved. I never liked endless grammar lessons. I just want to speak and use English now. Our first activity is simple but effective. We sit in a circle, introduce ourselves, and ask each other easy questions like, "What's your favorite food?" Or "Do you like music?" They're basic, but they get me talking and listening. Later, at a cafe near the school, I overhear 2 tourists speaking English. They order coffee, and I understand a few words. I smile, real-life English. That evening, I watch a travel video on YouTube. I don't catch everything, but I understand enough to feel encouraged. The next day in class, I speak more. I make mistakes, but Sarah reminds us. Mistakes mean you're learning. Don't be afraid of them. We talk about travel, jobs, and hobbies. My speech is slow, but it's speech, and that feels like progress. Sarah ends the lesson with something powerful. When you speak English, you speak to the world. English opens doors, brings new ideas, and helps you grow. I walk home inspired. On the way, I see a man with a backpack looking lost. I ask, "Do you need help?" He says yes, and I give him directions to the train station. He's from Canada, and for 2 minutes, we have a real conversation in English. That night, I write in my notebook. English is not just a subject, it's a key to the world. Chapter 2: Understanding Real English. Learning English is one thing. Understanding real English is another. In class, Sarah speaks clearly and slowly. She chooses words we know, repeats herself when needed, and smiles when we hesitate. It feels safe and easy to understand her. But outside the classroom, it's a different world. People speak faster. They use slang. They eat their words, join sounds together, and speak with different accents. Sometimes it feels like one long, blurry sound, not separate words. One afternoon, I'm in a shop when I hear 2 young men chatting in English. I try to listen, but they're speaking so quickly it sounds like a song with no spaces. I catch maybe 1 or 2 words, football and tonight, and the rest disappears. That evening, I tell Sarah about it. She nods. "Yes, David, that's normal." In real life, people don't speak like in textbooks. They shorten words. Instead of going to, they say gonna. Instead of want to, they say wanna. They mix words together like did you becoming didja. They speak with rhythm, with emotion, and they often skip little words. But don't worry, you can learn to understand it. She gives us some tips. Listen every day. Even if you don't understand everything, your brain gets used to the sounds. Focus on key words. You don't need every single word to understand the meaning. Repeat and imitate. Try to copy the way people speak, not just the words. We start practicing in class. Sarah plays short clips from movies, interviews, and songs. At first, it's frustrating. I barely catch anything. But Sarah pauses, explains, and makes us repeat. Slowly, the words become clearer. One clip is from a travel vlog. The speaker says, "Hey guys, we're going to check out this amazing little cafe we found. You're going to love it." At first, I only hear, "Hey, gonna cafe love it." But after Sarah explains, I realize I did understand the most important words. I just didn't catch the smaller ones. She reminds us, you don't need to understand every word. Focus on the meaning, not perfection. Even native speakers don't catch every single word. They listen for ideas. That night, I try something new. I play a YouTube video in English while cooking dinner. I don't stop to translate. I just let it play in the background. At first, my brain wants to work hard, but then it relaxes. And I'm surprised to find that I understand more than I thought. The next morning, I'm on the bus when two tourists talk nearby. They speak quickly, but I catch enough to know they're discussing where to eat lunch. I smile to myself. I'm already improving. Chapter 3. Speaking without fear. Understanding English is one thing. Speaking it is another. Listening feels safe. You can just watch, guess the meaning, and stay quiet. But speaking, that's different. Speaking is like stepping onto a stage with no script. In class, it's easier. Sarah is patient. She gives us time. She smiles and nods, even when our sentences are messy. But outside, there's no pause button. People answer quickly. They might not wait for you to find the right word. And sometimes they don't understand, or worse, they pretend they do. I remember my first real conversation in English. It was in a cafe. The waiter asked me, "For here or to go?" I froze. For here or to where? My mind scrambled for meaning. Finally, I guessed and said, "Yes." He looked confused. I pointed to a table and smiled. He smiled back, but I knew I'd answered wrong. I felt embarrassed for the rest of the day. That week, Sarah gave us advice for speaking. Don't wait for perfect grammar. If you wait until your sentence is perfect, you'll never speak. Use simple words. You don't need utilize when use works just fine. Smile and use body language. A friendly tone and a few gestures can help people understand you. Practice every day, even for a minute. Say something in English while cooking, walking, or looking in the mirror. We started speaking drills in class. Sarah asked us simple questions, but we had to answer immediately, no thinking time. At first, it felt like jumping into cold water. My answers were short and full of mistakes. Yesterday, I go market. Sarah didn't correct me immediately. She just nodded and asked, "What did you buy?" And I answered, "I buy apple." "No apples. Red apples." By the end of the week, my answers were smoother. Not perfect, but faster. One evening, I went back to the same cafe. The same waiter asked, "For here or to go?" This time, I smiled and said confidently, "For here, please." It was a small victory, but it felt like winning a gold medal. Chapter 4. Thinking in English. One day, Sarah says something that surprises me. If you want to speak fluently, you must stop translating in your head. At first, I don't understand. Stop translating? But how will I know what to say? She explains. When you translate from your language to English, you lose time. Your brain works too slowly. You need to train it to think directly in English. It sounds impossible. My thoughts are in my native language. How can I change that? Sarah gives us small exercises. Name things around you in English. Chair, book, window, bag. Describe what you're doing. I'm opening the door. I'm washing my hands. Ask yourself simple questions in English. What time is it? Where am I going? At first, it feels strange, like wearing new shoes that don't quite fit. I walk to the bus stop thinking, tree, sky, street, bus, ticket. I feel silly, but I keep going. After a few weeks, something changes. I'm cooking at home when I realize I just thought, I need more salt, in English, without even trying. It feels like a little light turning on in my mind. Sarah also tells us to change the way we watch videos. Don't just read subtitles. Listen first. Try to understand. Then check the subtitles only if you need to. And sometimes turn them off completely. I try this with a short TV show. At first, I miss many words, but I still understand the story. My brain starts working faster. One evening, I'm walking through the park when a tourist stops me and asks for directions. Without thinking, I answer in English. The words come out naturally, like water from a tap. I even use gestures to show the way. After he leaves, I realize something. I didn't translate. I just spoke. That night, I write in my journal. Today, I started to think in English. It's not perfect, but it's real. Chapter 5, Learning from Mistakes. Sarah often says, mistakes are your best teacher. But for me, mistakes feel like little failures. Every wrong word is a reminder that I'm not good enough. That changed the day I made a big mistake in front of everyone. It happened during our group activity in class. We were practicing conversations for shopping. My turn came, and I said confidently, I want to buy some chicken for my shoes. Everyone stared. Then they burst out laughing. My face turned red. I meant for my soup, but I mixed up the words. Sarah smiled and said, well, at least your shoes will taste nice. I laughed too. And in that moment, the fear I always felt about making mistakes became smaller. I realized something. People don't remember your mistakes as much as you do. After class, Sarah explained, every mistake tells you where to improve. If you say nothing to avoid mistakes, you learn nothing. Speak. Fail. Learn. Repeat. So, I started keeping a mistake notebook. When I said something wrong, I wrote it down. I wrote the correct sentence next to it. Once a week, I reviewed my notes. Soon, my mistake notebook was full. But my English was better. One day, I was at a market buying vegetables. The seller gave me the wrong change. I needed to explain politely in English. My voice shook, but I tried. Sorry, I think you give me less money. He understood. He corrected the change and said, thank you for telling me. It wasn't perfect grammar, but it worked. And that's when I truly understood. Mistakes are not walls, they are steps. Everyone takes you higher. That night, I didn't feel embarrassed. I felt proud. Chapter 6, Taking English Outside. Sarah once told us, English doesn't live only in books. It lives in streets, shops, buses, and parks. You must take it outside. At first, I didn't know how. My city isn't full of English speakers. Most people talk in our own language. Sarah gave me an idea. Create English moments in your day, even if they're small. Talk to strangers who might know English. Write your shopping list in English. Read street signs in English, even if they're just advertisements. So I began. In the cafe near my house, I ordered in English. The waiter looked surprised, but he understood. 1 coffee, please. No sugar. When I went to the supermarket, I read the labels in English first, then in my own language. At the bus stop, I practiced in my head. Excuse me, what time will the bus come? Sometimes I even whispered it quietly, so my tongue got used to the sound. One Saturday, I visited a tourist area in the city. I saw a couple looking at a map. My heart started beating fast. This was my chance. I walked up and asked, do you need help? They smiled and said, yes, could you tell us how to get to the museum? I explained as best as I could, pointing at the road and using my hands. They understood. Before leaving, they said, your English is very good. Thank you. It felt like sunshine inside me. From that day, I looked for small adventures in English. Asking a shopkeeper about a price. Saying have a nice day to a stranger. Even talking to myself while cooking. Now I'm cutting the onions. Next, I'll add the tomatoes. Every time I used English outside, it became less of a school subject and more like a real part of my life. And slowly, the world around me began to feel bigger. Chapter 7, Finding My English Family. One evening after class, Sarah said, language is not just words. It's people. If you find people to share it with, your English will grow like a tree in the sun. I thought about that. In my daily life, I didn't have English-speaking friends. So, my practice stopped when class ended. Sarah suggested joining an online language group. At first, I was shy. I imagined strangers judging my grammar or laughing at my accent. But I took a deep breath and joined a video chat group for English learners. The first time, I barely spoke. I just listened. People from different countries laughed, asked questions, and shared stories. A man from Brazil talked about his football team. A woman from Japan shared a recipe for noodles. The second time, I introduced myself. Hello, my name is. My voice trembled, but they smiled and replied, welcome. Nice to meet you. Soon, I joined every week. We played word games, read short stories together, and helped each other with pronunciation. Outside the group, I started talking more in real life too. At a local park, I met an old man feeding pigeons. He wore a faded cap with the word London on it. I asked, "Have you been to London?" He grinned. "Yes, many years ago." We ended up talking for 20 minutes, in English. Week by week, I realized something beautiful. Speaking English wasn't just about learning a skill. It was about building connections, little bridges between me and the world. Now, I had friends in countries I'd never visited. We shared jokes, dreams, and even birthday wishes, all in English. Chapter 8: The Slow Days. Not every day was sunshine. Some days, my English felt broken again. I forgot simple words. I froze in the middle of sentences. I compared myself to others in the group and thought, they're all improving faster than me. One rainy evening, I closed my notebook and said out loud, "Maybe I'm just not good at this." The next day in class, Sarah noticed my silence. After the lesson, she asked, "What's wrong?" I told her everything, how I felt stuck, how progress seemed too slow. She listened quietly, then said, "Do you know how plants grow?" Slowly, quietly. "You don't see the change every day, but it's happening under the soil." She asked me to open my first notebook from months ago. I read the sentences I had written then. They were full of mistakes, simple mistakes I no longer made. I smiled without meaning to. Sarah continued, "Language learning is not a straight line. It's a path with hills and valleys. The slow days are not failures, they are part of the journey." That night, I decided to treat bad days differently. If I felt tired, I read a short English story instead of pushing myself too hard. If I forgot words, I reminded myself, even in my own language, I sometimes forget words. If I felt shy, I listened to English songs and let the rhythm carry me. One day, during a group chat, I spoke for 5 whole minutes without stopping. I didn't notice until someone said, "Wow, your English is flowing today." And that's when I understood, the slow days had not stopped me. They had prepared me. I didn't just find language partners. I found my English family. Chapter 9: The Moment I Knew. It happened on an ordinary afternoon. I was at a bookstore, wandering between the shelves, when I saw a small sign. Author meet and greet, today at 4 p.m. The author was from England. I almost walked away thinking, it's not for me, my English isn't good enough. But something inside whispered, go. Just go. I joined the small crowd. When it was my turn, I held the book in my hands and stepped forward. "Hello," the author said with a warm smile. And then, without planning, without fear, I began speaking. I told him how I loved his book, how it reminded me of my own city, how his characters felt real to me. He listened, nodding, asking questions, and I answered them all. We talked for nearly 10 minutes. Not once did I freeze. Not once did I search desperately for a word. When I walked away, I realized something. I hadn't been thinking about my English. I had just been using it. Later that night, I messaged my online friends. Today, I spoke to a native speaker for the first time, and it felt natural. They celebrated with me, sending clapping emojis and messages like, "See, you've made it so far." And I understood, the real milestone wasn't speaking perfectly. It was speaking without fear. That evening, I placed the signed book on my desk. Every time I saw it, it reminded me of the moment I knew. I wasn't just learning English anymore. I was living it. Chapter 10, Keep Walking. When I look back now, I smile at the person I was on the first day, nervous, silent, unsure. I remember staring at the blank page, afraid of making mistakes. I remember how my tongue felt heavy, how my mind searched for words that never came. But step by step, word by word, I changed. It wasn't magic. It was showing up on the slow days, laughing at my own mistakes, and choosing not to give up when progress felt invisible. I learned that English isn't just grammar and vocabulary. It's the laughter of friends in an online chat. It's the kindness of a teacher who believes in you. It's the courage to start a conversation with a stranger. And most of all, it's a bridge to people, places, and dreams I never thought I could reach. One evening, Sarah told me something I'll never forget. Language is a gift you give yourself. The more you use it, the more it gives back to you. Now, I write in English every day. I read stories from faraway countries. I send messages to friends across the world. I still make mistakes, but I no longer fear them. They're just stepping stones on my path. To anyone beginning their own journey, I want to say this. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait to feel ready. Start now. Speak even if your voice shakes. One day, without even noticing, you'll realize you're not just learning English. You're living it. And when that day comes, you'll smile too. Chapter 11, New Doors. Months have passed since that day at the bookstore. My English continues to grow, not because I'm studying harder, but because I'm living in it every day. I've started helping newcomers in our online group, people who are now where I once was. I see their hesitation, their self-doubt, their quiet hope. And I tell them what Sarah once told me. Your progress is happening, even when you can't see it. Sometimes I share my own early mistakes, and we laugh together. They're surprised when I tell them I once feared even saying hello. Last week, something unexpected happened. I was offered a part-time job at a local travel agency. The owner said, "We need someone who can talk to international clients with confidence. I think you're perfect for it." That night, I wrote in my diary, English didn't just give me words, it gave me a new path. I don't know exactly where this path will lead. Maybe I'll travel abroad. Maybe I'll write my own book. But one thing is certain, the journey isn't over. In fact, it's only just beginning. And this time, I'm walking forward without fear.